Hey guys, what's up? My name is Jordan Arell, and here's another daily video on circumcision. So today I'd like to go into some of the common objections that normies have on circumcision. That's normal people who, just don't really get this issue. They kind of seem to collect the common memes of the culture. And so these are some of the most common objections I actually get around, or the reasons given for why circumcision is done. And they're actually really stupid, and so I don't usually address them because they're just idiotic. And I find them completely unpersuasive. It's much more interesting to go into the sexual effects of circumcision, into the human rights violation that it is, and much of the more sophisticated aspects of it, but most people just don't think about it that deeply. They just accept it. They don't think about the evolutionary biology of why it's there. They just think, well, he should look like his dad, right? Yeah. So for those people, here is a refutation and definitive guide to answering normies on these questions about circumcision. So first one, he should look like his dad. This is the most common reason giving. He should he should look like his dad, who had part of his penis cut off, so he should have part of his penis cut off, right? That just makes sense. Yeah, this it's like the child is going to have some trauma by not looking like his dad. Really, it's, I think, a lot more traumatic for the dad to think maybe part of his penis was cut off for no good reason, and so it psychologically feels better for him. Yeah, I should do this to my son too, right? Must be a good reason for it, something. This is one of the reasons my parents gave for circumcising me. Although they almost didn't, it was actually largely because of stuff that happened with my brother, and improper care. However, a lot of people give this reason anyways, and so the simple response to this would be, well, actually, he doesn't need to look like his dad. You can simply tell your son, well, when I was a baby, they cut off part of my penis, and we decided not to do that to you. And you can explain, and you just tell him, there's good reasons why. I'll explain them to you when you get older. But it's as simple as that. The child usually gets it, is usually thankful that you didn't cut off part of his dick, and yeah, that's the simple answer to that one. Next is that it's cleaner or more hygienic to be circumcised. So the fact is, maybe a little bit in adulthood. As a child, you actually don't have to do any cleaning of the genitalia whatsoever. You have to do a lot more care for a circumcised child, because there's this bandaging. You have to unwrap it every day. You have to take care of it. It's extremely painful for the child, and kind of this gross weird thing that's hypersensitive. For an intact baby, you don't have to do anything. You literally don't have to do anything. You don't even want to use soap. Just wash it off with water. That's it. Simple as that. When he's older, yeah, he has to pull it back and wash it with water every day is ideal. Keep it from, getting gross. But it's pretty easy. If you just teach him to pull it back and wash it with water, no need to amputate it. On the same lines, they say, well, it gathers infections and there's diseases, right? Well, no. If you look at the countries who, other countries who don't circumcise, which is pretty much all of them outside of the United States, they actually don't have any higher rates. They actually have lower rates of most of the diseases that circumcision claims to prevent. So this claim is absolutely absurd. It just isn't true. It's just not true. Simple as that. Some say, well, then he might have to get circumcised later in life. Well, actually, no, that almost never happens. In America, because we don't understand proper intact care, a lot of times he'll be forcibly retracted, and the foreskin is pulled back. It should never be pulled back by anyone except the kid himself. But that can cause issues if that does happen, because some adult, rips his foreskin back, and it's supposed to be attached to the glands when he's born until adolescence. And so that can cause problems, and it doesn't actually cause him to to be circumcised, but a lot of doctors will tell you, oh yeah, we need to cut it off now. Just give me $500 and I'll cut that off for you. So, yeah, the fact is you don't actually almost ever need to circumcise anybody for any reason. So that, later in life, it just doesn't actually happen. You may hear stories of it, but again, that's just because there's improper care. And furthermore, also, they say, well, it's less painful later in life, right? Well, no, actually, it's extremely, extremely, extremely painful for the baby when he's born, because they can't put him to sleep. They can't use full anesthesia. A lot of doctors still don't use any kind of anesthesia, and it's extremely, excruciatingly painful, traumatic for life. And so that's the next thing. They say it's harmless and painless, right? It doesn't really do anything bad, and it doesn't cause any pain. Well, no, it's, as I just said, extremely painful, and it is extremely harmful. There's actually a lot of sexual function of the foreskin. It actually has the vast majority of nerve endings in the penis. It feels really, really, really fucking good to have that, and it actually has several important functions, such as the gliding motion of the foreskin, such as lubrication, such as protecting the glands and keeping the glands moist. It's an internal organ. It develops a callus, actually, and becomes super insensitive for circumcised guys compared to intact guys. So the foreskin has actually a lot of functions. It's really fun to play with during foreplay. It just feels really stupidly fucking good. Makes it so you don't need lube when you masturbate. You usually don't need lube when you have sex, because the foreskin naturally provides that. It evolved to be there for a lot of reasons, and it's not harmless at all to do it. And another reason that's often given, or another kind of excuse, is, well, it's a parent's choice. It should just be the parent's choice. Well, no, it should actually be the child's choice. It should be his choice when he's grown up. There's no reason a parent needs to make that choice for him. Why does a parent need to decide to cut off part of your dick? What about other parts of your body? Do they need to decide to cut off your ears or your nose or your fucking toes? They don't need to cut off anything. You can decide to cut off parts of you if you want to when you're an adult, if you really want to. Most men don't. But that should really be up to you. It shouldn't be a parental choice. There's no reason it needs to be a parental choice. It can be the kid's choice when he's old enough to decide for himself and to consent to the procedure. Consent is key. So another reason is religion, Judaism, Islam. And, okay, yeah, religion, sure, religious freedom, great, sure, you can... Not going to go into that, but religion is a whole another topic. But in terms of making bodily alterations, sacrificing part of your child's body to a god that he may not believe in, and permanently altering his body, and in one of the most extreme ways possible, cutting off part of his penis, no, that's not a parent's right to the religion of their child. It's a right to their own religion, but they don't have the right to affect their child in such a permanent way in response to religion. That's their son's religious freedom to keep his foreskin, to decide what he wants to do for himself. And furthermore, most Jews actually get circumcisions done in the hospital, which means if he wants to have a proper bris ceremony for himself, when he, if he does decide to follow the Jewish religion, he actually can't do that because he's been circumcised in a hospital, and that ceremony is invalid according to the religion. It's not done on the 8th day. It's not done by a moil with the proper whatever. So if he really actually wants to get a valid bris, he could do that himself when he's older, but doing it in the hospital actually prevents him from following his religion in another way. Interesting twist there. Threw you for a loop, didn't you? Didn't I? Anyhow. They say it's cultural, it's just what we do. That's another reason. It's just what our culture does. Well, there's a lot of cultural things that are pretty damn fucked up. Just look at our culture today. We're still pretty fucked up in a lot of ways. And, culture, just because it's someone's culture, doesn't mean it's okay. Sometimes culture needs to change, and it needs to change now. So one final reason is that circumcised penises look better. Everybody knows that, right? If you permanently expose a guy's glands, that's a sign that he's turned on. That's the sign that he's aroused, is that his glands is exposed. So by the same token, we should also, enlarge women's breasts when they're babies. Put like inflatable little boobs in them and do that. I think would also be great. And look, guys. Does it look better? No, it doesn't. It's disgusting. He has a scar on his penis. The head develops a callus over it. I mean, I guess if you're into that kind of thing, scars and shit, I don't know. But look, we shouldn't be deciding how our baby's penises look. That should be up to the guy himself. If he thinks it looks better, then he can do it again. A lot of people don't think it looked better. It's really our culture that has indoctrinated us to believe that, because that's what we always see, that's what we're used to, that's what we think is normal. But in fact, it's not. It's very subjective if you think it looks better. And moreover than any other of those reasons and all the things I've said above, you can just think about female genital mutilation. That's one of the main reasons they give for female genital mutilation is, well, it looks better. It should, and they're right. It kind of cleans it up, makes it nice and streamlined. But you know what? I'd rather have a female with her whole entire vagina and clitoris and everything there and all of its gross weirdness. I accept that. I learn to appreciate it, appreciate its beauty. And I think we can do the same thing with penises, frankly. I think the natural male form is absolutely stunningly gorgeous if you just take the time to learn to appreciate that beauty. And furthermore, with all of the reasons I've given above, if you want to watch this again, they're all the reasons given for female genital mutilation. All of these, each and every single one of them, are the exact same reasons given for female genital mutilation. They don't say, oh yeah, we're doing this to reduce her sexual pleasure, of course. No, sometimes they'll say it even increases it. Most women are happily circumcised. They don't think of themselves as victims of genital mutilation. They say, no, it's totally normal. And so that's a good, thing to call Normies' attention to as well. It looks like he should look like his dad. Well, shouldn't she look like her mom then? It's cleaner and more hygienic. Actually, women have 4 times as much smegma as men. So we do 4 times as much good by cutting parts of women off. And also a lot less nerve endings, by the way, than the foreskin. So prevent diseases. Well, yeah. Female genital mutilation decreases risk of UTIs, at least that's what they say. It also, there's studies that show it, reduces HIV transmission, etc. So, I never heard the later in life that she might have to get circumcised later in life. But I have heard that it's harmless, that it's painless, that it doesn't affect women that much, that it should be the religion. The religion has predominance, and it's encouraged in Islam, so it should be okay. And finally, it's cultural. It's just what they do. It's just what we do. We cut off our girls' clitorises. So what? Again, all these reasons are fucking stupid as shit. I resent making this video. I resent the fucking humanity that I live with on this planet, but most people are normies. That's why they're called normies, because they're just normal, they're just average, they don't really think about anything, just kind of automatons walking through life with their head down. Don't really think deeply, spend a lot of time consuming social media and pop culture and fucking bullshit and whatever. It's the world we live in. We have to deal with it. We have to deal with these people. So, look at these arguments, study them, understand them, think about them. What's your way of relating to normies? And practice, practice as often as you can. When people say these idiotic things about circumcision, respond and let them know why that's just not really right. These are all pretty easy to understand. They're all pretty simple. And this should cover almost all arguments around circumcision that average people have. And if they're smarter, then by all means you can talk to them about this, Meisner's corpuscles and the right to bodily autonomy and the things that actually this is really about, which most people just don't give a shit about. They say, yeah, but it looks better. Yeah, same thing for FGM, guys. So that's it for today. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, any other thing that you'd like to say. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow.